Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm giving you a full tour of my Pilates corner. I'm not calling it a studio because it really is not that, but it is a designated place in my home where I come to do my sessions. It is semi-isolated, kind of closed off a little bit from the rest of the home. So that's why I call it my little corner. And as you can see, I actually have some equipment. In a previous video, I showed you the process of me actually setting the space up, right? So actually building the equipment and then adding a little bit of decor here and there. In this video, we're just gonna do a full overview of the space. As someone who has made the leap to create a place of my own where I can come to practice Pilates, right? I've invested in equipment. I thought I'd just share some tips for those of you who are thinking of creating your own designated space. So whether you're a beginner doing mat Pilates and you just want some props, or whether you're more seasoned and you're thinking about investing in your own equipment. So just some tips that I found useful when going through the process. All right, let's dive right in. As a disclaimer, I just want to put out there that in my opinion, I think Pilates is best practiced under a trained instructor, especially if you are interested in practicing with the various apparatus. Okay, if you got the money to splurge on a good instructor. Don't go buying equipment that you don't know how to use, please. I myself as an instructor have lost my balance, overdone it. But if you are a beginner and you really want to get into it, I would suggest doing things like mat Pilates online. That is a great place to start, especially if you already have good body awareness and there aren't too many contraindications. But always consult a medical professional if you do have any conditions that might be a contraindication. I myself decided to do much of my practice in my home because there aren't too many good studios near me. So that was my reasoning for really investing in some equipment. So with that in mind, the first thing I want to discuss is why at-home Pilates. Home Pilates is a viable option, and really why I thoroughly enjoy my studio is mainly because of the convenience. One of the biggest advantages of having a home Pilates studio is the mere convenience that it offers. No more commuting to classes, working around studio schedules, or rushing from work to make it on time like I used to do. You can practice whenever you want to, whatever time works for you, whether it's early in the morning, on a lunch break, or later in the evening. I work from home most days of the week, so it's really easy for me to quickly get a session in. Say if I don't get one in the morning, I can easily just do it on my lunch break, or right after work, I can just put on my clothes and come down, which is what I usually opt to do as soon as I shut down my computer. I'm usually down here. So with that being said, let's do a quick little tour. I'm gonna get behind the camera here. So the theme I wanted for this space was very light, open, and calming. I think I pretty much accomplished that with the placement of the equipment in the home. So this is the more like formal living area, right when you come in off the side of the staircase, you can see in the mirror here. And then there's also like another section towards the back that has a very big window looking out towards the backyard and the pool. So there's a lot of light coming in this way, especially during this time of day, as well as there are some windows on this side here. So I just thought that kind of added to the bright, open, and calm feel. Obviously, I wanted the focus to be on the equipment and the props and such, so I didn't overdo it with the decor. After investing in the equipment itself, I really couldn't justify spending more money on decor that really served no purpose, so that's where we're at. I did use Milanote to help me visualize the space a little bit, so similar to what I did for my office, if you saw those videos, but it really wasn't as elaborate as the home office planning because there really isn't much inspo on Pinterest for home Pilates studios. As you can imagine, it's very niche, first of all, and it's also a big investment. So most people are going to the studios. They don't really care to actually get the equipment for themselves. So I really just had like a few, maybe like 4 or 5 general images for the kind of look and feel. I want to show you some close-ups of the equipment here. So starting with the most obvious piece of equipment here is the Reformer combo. It's from Bassey Systems. All this equipment is, and the combo is in the name, right? A combination of a Cadillac and a Reformer. So I was in between getting the combo and a Reformer tower, but then I also knew that I really wanted the opportunity to practice a lot of the, inversions and hanging exercises. So I just decided to go with the combo. So we have this it's not really that soft, but it is quite firm, but also very comfortable. So it serves as an excellent mat, even for like mat Pilates exercises. When I was doing my Pilates teacher training, I would spend hours in the studio on this equipment and I never really had any issue with it. So that's why I, decided to go with this equipment. It is called a combo because you can lift this up So usually, this is kind of heavy actually, so really kind of grounding your heels in and using more of your glutes and hamstrings. I mean, it's not too heavy, right? So I'll just kind of lay it down, slide it under the reformer, and then you have your reformer here. You'll be able to just slide it into place. So I'll kind of demo that here to show you, but here is your foot bar. This foot bar is one of the sturdiest foot bars I have used. And I think this material is aluminum, so it does take a little bit of manpower to push that back. There is a locking mechanism here that will lock these two pieces together. And then once you unlock this mechanism here, you're able to kind of move the foot bar back and forth. So you can kind of move the foot bar down as you need it, move the foot bar forward as you need it. And usually I'll set it up maybe right about here, and then I will slip my two stoppers in, and then I can easily just slide the springs on. Here you have your foot strap down here, and as you can see here, I have my box, and the foot platform just rests right here. And then I usually have my shoulder rests just sitting here. I usually won't take off the rest for the strap. I'll leave them there unless it's getting in the way of what I'm doing on the push-through bar, but I do take off the shoulder pads, and putting them back on again is quite easy. Just kind of slides in there. What I also love about this equipment though is it's very adjustable. So you have these two slots for the shoulder blocks here. Maybe you're a tinier person and you have smaller shoulders. You can put it in the first slot. You can make it quite narrow here. Maybe you want to put it in the next slot over if your shoulders are a little bit wider. And then you can also turn it this way, like more vertical as well. So I usually keep it like so. That usually works well for me. And then I will grab my straps here and rest them where they need to go. I also like how the headrest is adjustable, so I usually keep it flat, but if you need to adjust it, you can put it up, it clicks into place, and it's not moving anywhere. So there's the flat level, right? There's one up about here, and then if you need to, there's another level here. Down here, this was just from my last session, but we do have our arm handles, right, for things like arm work, chest expansion, etc. I have these attached to yellow springs, and then I also have purple springs here where I have attached my foot straps. So for leg springs, etc. Coming up here, I have my roll down bar. These are attached to some short yellow springs. I will detach this just to show you. What attaches the straps and the bar to the springs themselves are these little carabiners. So these little carabiners here are really cool because these are very secure. So it has a metal ring here that you can turn. So once you turn, it locks, right? If you push to open the carabiner, it will not open. And then if you go the other way, you can push on it and then open it that way. So once you have this on, you don't have to worry about, springs magically snapping off and, hitting you in the face. That's never happened to me or like anyone that I know. But, if you do have that worry, if you're doing maybe something like thigh stretch right on the Cadillac and you're going back and you're adding a lot of tension, if you're maybe doing some, pulls to the chest, you don't have to worry about that tension dislodging anything. So that is something I like. And then, so I attached it back to the roll down bar, and then you can easily just attach the spring, right? And then close it by twisting the ring in place. And then up here, we have our little foot straps, right? If you're doing inversions, etc. Here we have a bar that's adjustable. So if you need to adjust the height, I usually put my bar at about eye level for things, like chest expansion, etc. Or if I'm doing leg springs, but you can also undo this and this bar just slides up and down. So it's nice and adjustable if you want to increase the tension of your exercise or decrease the tension of the exercise, you can do that. Same thing here for these eyelets. These are also adjustable. I actually always forget that these are there. I don't use them too often. You have 3 eyelets here, back, front, and then inside. You also have some up here. So you can also adjust maybe to fit your shoulder width as well. And then same thing here over on this side. This is the front edge of the frame. We have our push through bar here. Love her, love her. Same thing with the foot bar. This is very, very comfortable. It is non-slip. Your hands and feet are not going anywhere. but it is comfy at the same time. And then you have your designated space to bottom load or top load your springs. And it is adjustable, as you can see here. Same thing, you can slide these up and down. I have my red springs that I use to bottom load down here. I just kind of keep them here because I don't really want to do the work of putting them on and taking them off all the time. So I just kind of house them here. Up here, we have our blue springs that we use to top load. Same thing here on the other side. We have our adjustable eyelets. We have the safety strap here for the push through bar for when you bottom load. And then we have a nice swing here for our trapeze. So it's padded here and here. If we work our way up, you see it is hanging off of this bar that is attached to the top of the machine. And then moving on to our chair here, I love this thing. I particularly love Bassie's chair. I'm gonna take a seat to explain, but I'll show you why. So with a lot of chairs that I've used, the top of the chair is quite small, at least for me and my booty. For some chairs, they really do stop about right here. So having this extra room is really handy based on the size of your client. Over here, we have our poles that are nice and secure. We have 2 locking mechanisms just like over there. So you can kind of pull this out, unscrew this, this will just pop right out. And so this is not going anywhere, especially for weight bearing purposes, right? This is very sturdy. And then down here, we have our pedal. I usually just work with the black springs. So either I'll have both on or I will take one of them off depending on the exercise. We also have this locking mechanism. So when you twist the knob, you can easily kind of adjust the setting here, twist the knob back to lock it in place. And then if you wanted to work split pedal, you could. You can take this rod off here, and then you have the ability to use the split pedal. And then by far my favorite feature is this little cutout here. First of all, this lip is very long, but also you have this cutout for the head. So if you're doing exercises like jackknife, for example, on the chair, your head goes right here. You can put a little mat down if you want. So you can easily get a good grip on your pedal, right? And your head is comfortable. So yeah, they really thought of a lot when crafting this chair. So moving on to some smaller items. These are just all the bags that all the equipment came in. So I have now like 6 new drawstring bags that are pretty good like material. So I just kind of save them over there. I house my jump board back here. This is the jump board that's particularly made to go on the upright poles. So if you have your reformer combo, right, they have these little attachments to fit on the poles. Whereas if you had the jump board that goes on maybe the reformer tower or just the reformer itself, I don't believe it has these little holders. And then over here we have some mats, and they're a nice Bassie gray color. Moving on the back of the machine here, as you can see, I have my little prop basket. So I have some resistance bands. These are from Bala. I have the little Bala ball, and then I have 2 rings. One of them is from Balanced Body, one of the studios that I worked at. They were giving them away, and then the other one is from Amazon, the Pro Body Pilates brand. I also have a ball, also from Bala here. It's not inflated to the max, of course, so it's easy to actually get a good squeeze on it. And then also in here, I pulled out my little Bala bangles. So I believe these are either 1 or 2 pounds, but you can place them around your wrist or around your ankles just for some added weights. So I store them in here. And then lastly, I just have the strap that accompanies the Cadillac. So if you're doing like side lying exercises, this will just hold down any of your limbs. This is the strap that goes around one of the Cadillac mats. And that's pretty much it. Very simple, not too much going on in here. I got this wicker basket from Home Goods, of course, and I thought it was just the perfect size. We have this mirror here, and then we have its twin over here. These are from Amazon. Up here, we have this simple decor that I set up. This is also from Amazon, the frame and the pictures. And then here we have just a little sprinkle of faux greenery, a faux olive tree. This is from Amazon as well. Everything is really from Amazon. It's cute. It adds a little something to the space. And then lastly over here, I put this table here. I'm not sure where this is originally from. It was thrifted / gifted, but I've just used it to hold some Pilates anatomy books. So this is Pilates Anatomy by Rael Isakowitz, the founder of Bassie, and then also the ACSM's guide for exercise testing and prescription. So just have them kind of looking cute here for if I ever want to reference them. them. So I hope you enjoyed that little tour. I had to kind of do what it do to get the angles. So I hope my camera work wasn't too shaky. All opinions that I ever share about Bassi are my own. I've never really been contacted by them. This is my own coin I put into this equipment. I really have to, believe in the brand, believe in the program in which I was certified to really then go and spend thousands of dollars on my equipment. So there you have it, the tour of my Pilates corner. And now I just want to talk about kind of getting started at home with the bare minimum equipment. So sort of like what you would see here. First thing I recommend, obviously, if you're doing online Pilates, is to have a computer. So your laptop, really, because it's portable. Even for me, I'm subscribed to a service that I'll talk about in a moment, but I will literally bring my laptop down here. When I was in the studio as a student, I had my exercise library in Notion, I had my videos, etc. in my little Notion hub. I would need my computer. Definitely recommend a laptop. As far as where to find classes, there are a lot of good instructors on YouTube. I also use a paid service that I highly recommend. You've probably heard of it. It's called Pilates Anytime. I pay for it. I think it's about like $22 a month maybe. There are so many instructors on there, instructors who teach on a variety of apparatus. Pilates Anytime subscription is something that I highly recommend. The next thing I'm going to talk about are props. So you don't need props, of course, right? Pilates you can do with just yourself, but a lot of instructors do utilize props in their classes, and I'm not one to shy away from props either. Having a prop basket is generally affordable. You only need a few things, and they're pretty cheap in comparison to literally equipment. So I already showed you back there, but I'll kind of pull these out and show you again. First thing you'll probably need is a ring. So I have two, as I said before. One of them is from Balanced Body. From my old studio, these are really good, really firm, nice grips here. And then the other one is a little bit thinner, a little bit flimsier. It's from Amazon. This one is a Pro Body Pilates ring. So I just have them kind of stacked back here. And then I have a ball. Of course, you need to get you a ball. This is from Bala. So I actually got the Bala set. Of course, pink. It's such a nice, soft, like baby pink color. So I feel real cutesy. I also have the inflator piece here. So I keep it in here for if it ever needs some more air. And I don't keep this inflated all the way. It can honestly probably be deflated a little bit more. When you inflate it all the way, there's really nowhere for the air to go. You can't really get a good compression on the ball. So if you're putting it between your hands, between your inner thighs, etc., you're not really gonna get that activation of the muscles. So I do recommend having it partially deflated. Of course, weights of any kind, a couple pounds in my opinion is plenty. These are actually Bala bangles. So came in the set, as I told you. They come like this. I think this is either like 1 or 2 pounds. It has this Velcro strap here, so you can kind of move, adjust the weights to be closely stacked together, or you can separate them a little bit. But for example, if you were to put it around your wrist here, right, it kind of snaps together, holds it in place with the Velcro. And so this just adds a little bit of weight to your arm exercises. Same thing, you can put it on your ankles as well. I also do recommend some resistance bands. So I have 3 here that came in my little set from Bala. I think this one's pretty loose. They don't say like what the resistance is, but this one is pretty loose. I think this one is like the medium one maybe. But I think the black one is definitely the highest resistance for sure. These are nice and comfortable. They have little grips on the inside to kind of grip your workout leggings. But yeah, it's very, very comfortable material. I enjoy these for sure. So I put my basket back. I just want to show you the mat. So the next thing I do recommend, it's almost non-negotiable if you don't have like equipment. And then even then I find myself using my mat as well. Like if I'm doing chair work and I have this in the reformer arrangement, I will use my mat as well. So your mat is pretty much non-negotiable. Pilates mats need to be thick enough because you're doing weight-bearing exercises like on your spine, for example, rolling like a ball, open leg rocker, jackknife, seal puppy, any of those exercises where you're in a forward flexion, but then you're like moving through the spine on the mat. You definitely need some cushion. This one, I think on the website it says like 1 centimeter thick. You don't want it too thick. It kind of like throws off the body a little bit. So thick enough to protect your spine, your elbows, your knees, your head, for example, but not too thick to where you can't properly move and execute the movements on the mat. Now, if you're more seasoned, you've been taking classes for a while, maybe you have private online instruction, or maybe you're an instructor yourself, and you're ready to take that step to finally invest in some equipment of your own, here are some things to consider. So the company / vendor that you're purchasing from, they all have different price points for their equipment, right? So I think Bassy, really, their equipment is some of the most expensive on the market, but you get that reflected in the design of the equipment. They all have different lead times, right? Maybe depending on the time of year, depending on the company itself, where their manufacturing facilities are located. My lead time was maybe like 3 to 4 weeks, which isn't too bad. I think that's pretty standard. The equipment itself can definitely differ from brand to brand, company to company. For example, having worked in a studio that uses the Balanced Body studio reformers, I know that those have like a different feel. They're a lot more like cushiony, so to speak, than the Bassy mats. These are comfortable, but they're firm as well. Reputable companies to consider that I personally had experience with, obviously Bassy, Balanced Body, Marathon, Peak, and Alina Pilates. The next thing is your space considerations. So how much space you have to allocate to this equipment will dictate how much equipment you can buy. So I know when I lived in an apartment, I really strongly considered an at-home, maybe foldable reformer. So I know a few of those are on the market, mainly Marathon. They do have an at-home reformer that's quite low to the ground, and I've actually worked on them. So it's very much a space saver. You can easily kind of pick it up and roll it. I know Balanced Body has some at-home reformers as well. Bassy actually came out with a compact reformer. So although it's not quite low to the ground, it is smaller than this typical reformer frame. So I would check those out if you're looking for just something a little bit more compact. As an extension to that, is your home a permanent home or is it a rental home? So the fact that this is a rental home rather than a permanent home, aside from the cost, really dictated for me my decision to get a combo rather than getting a Cadillac and then a reformer and then a chair. I knew that I just didn't have like copious amounts of space. Another consideration is what you intend to use this equipment for. So is it for personal use or is it for business use? Do you plan to invite clients into your home? And if you do plan to invite clients into your home, especially if it is a rental home, there might be certain stipulations for maybe your apartment or your landlord or even the city that you live in. So just be sure to check and familiarize yourself with the rules. And the next thing obviously is budget considerations. So equipment is a significant investment, right? Thousands of dollars for good equipment. So think about what is in your budget, what you can realistically afford, what pieces will give you the most value out of your practice level. So for me, I knew I couldn't afford the whole shebang, right? So I just really knew that I wanted at least some sort of like piece of a Cadillac, right? Whether it was a tower or the whole thing. And I knew I wanted a reformer and I knew I really wanted a chair. So I went with those options first. For you, maybe consider adding one piece at a time if you're kind of just starting out. Also, there are different ways to pay for it, right? Depending on if it's business versus personal, whether you're financing or whether you are just saving up for the equipment and purchasing outright. This is not financial advice, but if you are purchasing under a business, know that they have different like business financing options, different interest rates. So if you are actually planning to use it for at-home clients or if you have a little studio space, that's an option as well. So if you made it to this point of the video and you're interested in hearing more about my Pilates teacher training experience and my experience coming out of that and working as an instructor, you can check out this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped. I will see you very soon and don't forget to stay mindful. Bye.